The basis of the game in R.E.P.O is collecting loot while killing and running away from monsters. I will tell you about the loot that can be found during forays, their cost, spawn locations, and especially about their unique properties because the game has items with non-obvious mechanics. Enjoy watching! Well, before I start, I have a request to subscribe to my channel because I just started this channel and there will be a lot of interesting things about different games. We will start with the items that we find on the maps, and I think neither you nor I need to list each item and its cost. But the distinctive feature of R.E.P.O from other similar games is that there are many items with unique properties that we will talk about now. The clown is an object of action that I only found out about while collecting information for this video. And the thing is that throughout the game, I thought that the clown was just a toy that lures enemies with its sounds if you grab it by the nose. But everything turned out to be much better. If you pull the clown's nose 3 times, a 5-second timer will turn on during which all the monsters will aggro on this doll, and after which it will explode, dealing up to 250 damage to everyone nearby. A huge box with an arrow is a very powerful item for killing enemies. The box itself is an expensive and heavy item that should never be turned over. This is what the R.E.P.O arrow is signaling to us. If you do turn the item over, the box will twitch and slowly lose its HP. When the box is destroyed, it will kill all the monsters that are near it. Of course, you should think about whether it is worth losing an expensive item for the sake of a monster's soul. But often, such large and heavy items are very difficult to deliver to the quota deadline in one piece. The frog is at first glance an ordinary object that croaks if you take the toy in your hands. However, this is not just a funny sound but a clockwork mechanism, and if you just touch the frog and let it go, then for 10 seconds it will jump, causing damage to itself and other objects. The fan is an exclusive item of the scientific station that can both help you escape from monsters and ruin your entire passage. And the thing is that when you take the fan in your hands, it turns on and starts throwing everything that is in front of it for monsters. This usually ends only with a slowdown in movement, but objects fly apart very well and smash against the walls. The flamethrower is another weapon that can only appear at a research station. If you damage the flamethrower, it will fire a short burst of fire. However, to use the flamethrower, you don't have to hit it against all the walls. Just grab the red handle and the flame will start to flow. However, the flamethrower has a fuel limit. It only lasts for 10 seconds, so you won't be able to spray flames on your enemies indefinitely. In any case, it will be very difficult to carry around a flamethrower and try to kill your enemies. Chomp is an item that can only appear in the castle, and it is unique in itself as it is a reference to a real book in the game. Its unique feature is familiar to all players who cannot carry an item to the cart without hitting it against something. I think many have seen a chain with a lock on this book, and if you damage this book, the lock will break, the book will come to life and start biting the player. A love potion can only appear in a castle, and it makes the character say compliments to other players nearby. If there are no teammates nearby, then compliments will fall on the potion itself. By the way, the phrase itself is not a prepared line but a game voice generation. If you open a chat and write any message there, the character will pronounce it in exactly the same way. A full-fledged staff is a unique item of the castle that can act as a weapon. If the staff is damaged, then a laser similar to the clown's laser will shoot out of its crystal. However, the staff has much less damage, only 30 units, but if you manage to control this heavy staff, then you can really kill monsters, because even though the beam has only 30 damage, it is inflicted very often. You just need to point the beam at the enemy. One of the most annoying objects in the game is the music box. When you pick it up, your character starts spinning like a ballerina to the right, and in order to successfully carry the box, you need to correctly adjust your mouse sensitivity so that you can overpower the movement of the music box, and yes, the box only appears in the mansion. The doll is an item that can only appear in the mansion, and often it only interferes with collecting loot. When you pick up the doll, it starts waving its arms, which causes damage to everything it touches. Small of course, but it does. And also the doll is constantly attracted to the player, because of which it is necessary to turn the mouse wheel in the opposite direction so that the doll does not hit the player himself. Of course, the doll can theoretically act as a weapon, but often it just damages all objects when you try to put the doll in the cart. Piano and harp, 2 large and heavy objects that appear only in the mansion and have almost identical properties. Both of these objects are musical, and if you touch the strings and keys, respectively, they will make sounds, and with the proper skill, you can even play a full melody. These were all the items that could be found on the map. They are all of different sizes, and most of them have unique features, but they all have 3 important things in common. They all appear exclusively on sorties, they all need to be handed over for a quota, and none of these items can be kept in the car for the next sortie. And after selling all these items, you not only close the quota, but also receive money that can be spent immediately upon completing the task by going to the store. There are also many different items here, and now I will tell you about all those that can be bought. Let's start with the most important weapon, and the first of them is the inflatable hammer. At first glance, this is the most affordable melee weapon from the entire assortment of the store because this hammer costs only from $6,000 to $18,000. And yes, like the items that can be found on the map, the cost of items in the store also varies within certain limits, and so the inflatable hammer, although it is a melee weapon, but it will be very difficult to use it for its intended purpose. The hammer has only 3 damage and a funny sound when struck. The hammer's durability is enough for 24 hits, after which it requires repair in the charging station in your van. And all this would make the hammer absolutely unsuitable for combat, if not for one fact: with a 5% chance when struck, the inflatable hammer can burst, causing 250 damage. This is far from the best option because there are much better alternatives, and the first weapon with which you can go to any monster is a sword. It deals 50 units of damage, and with a safety margin of 10 hits, you can kill absolutely any monster in the game at a cost of $25,000 to $30,000. It is an excellent main melee weapon. The sword does not have any unique properties, but it hits far, has good damage, and a safety margin that allows you to fight back on the map, which makes it almost the best weapon. In my opinion, the most useful weapon in the game is a pistol. It has 100 damage and a 6-shot clip costing from $40,000 to $45,000. And although this is not the best damage to durability ratio, however, a pistol is a pistol. You don't need to approach a monster because a pistol is a long-range weapon and you can shoot at monsters from a relatively safe distance. But I didn't just say from a relatively safe distance, because the pistol is scythe-like, well, it's really scythe-like, and you're unlikely to be able to aim at a monster across a huge room, but if the target does get closer to you, then shooting it won't be a problem. In my opinion, there is nothing else useful in the game. There are first aid kits that restore 25, 50 and 100 HP, as well as crystals for restoring things, but these are already ordinary consumables. Let me remind you that in this video I showed only the most interesting and useful items from the game repo. If you are interested in learning about absolutely all the items, put a like and write in the comments about it. And also do not forget about the subscription because I try very hard on my videos. All the best!